When I left Venezuela at age 18, I was carrying everything I owned in my dad's army duffel bag. I was going to move back to the United States. I was going to start a new life. And with only $50 in my pocket and a dream to become an engineer, I found myself working at Burger King. That was not my plan. Flipping hamburgers on a 500-degree grill, wearing a paper hat was a humbling experience. But I flipped as if my life depended on it. Because it did. I did not speak English, so every order was an adventure. When the cashier called out the order, I often couldn't tell if it was whole the cheese or double cheese, extra pickles or no pickles. I think I was the inspiration for Burger King's campaign, Have It Your Way, because I fulfilled those orders my way. 2 long years later, and against the odds, I was accepted into Rutgers University. The lady at the admissions office said, "You did not make it into the School of Engineering, so instead, study sociology." I did, and graduated with 2 degrees, sociology and engineering, and later with an MBA. Life was good then. I met my wife, Lisa, we got married and started a family. I was working for Procter & Gamble, the largest consumer goods company in the world. I was living the American dream. But then came the news of our daughter's brain injury. That was not in my plans. She may not make it, said the doctor, so we nurture every breath, every word, every step because her life depended on it. And then an unexpected blessing, my boss. Something about him provoked a question in me. He led me to the answer, and I surrendered my life to Christ. I began thinking about living God's way, pursuing lasting impact, not temporary success. As a vice president at P&G, I persuaded my team that we could do more than drive sales. We could bring change to the world, one girl at a time. That's when we launched Like a Girl, a campaign to remind girls and young women that they are strong and capable. It became one of the most successful campaigns in the company's history. It swept all the advertising awards, including an Emmy. But for me, the greatest reward was the impact I saw in the public arena. Before the campaign, only 19% of people said that doing something like a girl was a compliment. But a year later, after the campaign, that number increased to 79%. Once again, my idea of impact was growing. And then one day, I received a phone call about an executive position at World Vision. Although I sensed this was God's will, I was not ready to give it all up. So I turned down the job. But my wife didn't. I remember the day I talked with Lisa. I told her all the reasons why I thought it would be so hard for us to uproot our family and move across the country with no support system for a special girl. But then she said to me, "Edgar, if God wants us to go, we will obey him." And that was when I realized that the authentic pursuit of lasting impact requires courage. The kind of courage that comes only from being fully surrendered to God's will. So I joined World Vision, where in 3 years I became president. I began challenging my team to come up with a breakthrough idea, one that would help us eradicate extreme poverty from the face of the earth. My team flipped the script and completely reinvented child sponsorship because the lives of so many vulnerable kids depended on it. We launched a campaign we called Chosen. Instead of the sponsor selecting the child, for the first time ever, we put the power to choose in the child's hands and allowed sponsors to be in the posture to be chosen. A beautiful reminder that it is by His grace that we're called and chosen. At this point in my life, I could look back and say I did it my way. From Venezuela to Burger King, from an Ivy League school to the ivory towers at Procter & Gamble, and now at World Vision with the world's most vulnerable. But to say I did it my way would ignore the heart of my story. My greatest impact has come through surrender. To be a great leader, you need more than good choices. You need the courage to surrender, and that courage comes through knowing that you've been called, that you are chosen.